It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Flying down from Nova Scotia today.
This nation was founded by men of many nations and backgrounds.
I have a dream that all men are created equal.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have a liftoff.
What's up, Doom Nation? Welcome back. You are listening to the Two Doom Men podcast. And as always, it's Skaggs and the Captain, and we have another episode for you today. Skaggs, you want to let Doom Nation know what we're talking about today here?
Yes, sir. We are back. We had a fun weekend. We reviewed a couple things.
Yes.
We reviewed.
That was a great goddamn weekend,
yes.
man. Holy shit.
Yeah, we got some reviews in. We got to see the Giants game. We got a nice win, the first win in person I've seen the New York Giants commit in years, at least. So we had fun there. Check out our reviews of She-Hulk and Rings of Power. We did those. Today, we're going to talk about a couple of interesting topics. AOC has been getting heckled lately a lot. And I kind of wanted to really dive into the whole progressives now kind of being for war, which is just bizarre.
Yeah. Pro-war,
talk about that. The CDC is coming out with new guidance again. This time regarding children and the children, I think, under 6 months of age or 6 months of age or older in school. We'll kind of break that one open and dive into that. You got any other things on the docket you want to talk about?
I'd like to touch upon Kanye West a little bit. So some interesting things developing.
Vaguely
with old
familiar
Ye,
with that
or
one.
whatever.
Yeah, we had a little news with YouTube. Episode. Episode.
So actually, wait.
Yeah.
Promote everywhere else that Doom Nation can find us, because this episode isn't going up on YouTube for another week. So promote them first, then tell them about that shitty company.
So you should first go to linktree.com/2doomed That's where you could find every single place that we put the show. You should follow us on the other video platforms, right? Because this could happen at any moment. And the other video platforms that we're on are Rumble. We're also obviously on the Patriot Podcast Network if you have a Roku device. We just recently started putting the show up on Clout Hub. Thanks to Garrett for putting me onto that one from Sergeant Samurai. That's kind of like a mix of Facebook and YouTube. And then, of course, YouTube. So if you want to watch the video, you can go to all those places. Audio, it's on obviously everywhere that an audio podcast possibly could be. But yeah, episode 138, which we labeled Make Violence Violent Again, got pulled down for violence. Which is bizarre.
It just saw the title and was like, nope, goodbye.
Maybe. You should go watch that episode if you haven't already. It was actually a really interesting episode. So we did kind of talk about how there's like a conflation between committing an act of violence, like physically, and then you say something mean to someone and they treat it as an act of physical violence. So we talked a little bit about that, but one of the reasons why maybe it did get pulled down, Cap, was because if you remember, we watched 3 different political ads from 3 different types of politicians, a Democrat, a Republican, and a Libertarian. And the Democrat and the Republican, they were a bit controversial. It's not that they were violent. These were political ads from people running for Congress. One was of the Democrat hanging himself, like with a noose. And the Republican was of him defending his house from the KKK with an AR-15. So that could have been,
which is so bizarre that this is where we are in American politics. That this is how they're, it's no longer a policy. It's theatrics, and it's the most wild theatrics we could throw out there.
Yeah, so that could be why the video got banned on YouTube. Again, those weren't our videos. We were just watching and commenting it on them. So if you haven't watched that episode, you should. It's pretty good. It is still on Rumble at the moment. So go to Rumble and go to Two Doom Men on Rumble, episode 138.
We might have to repost that one on Cloud Hub just to stick it to YouTube and put it back out there.
Sure, I'm working on it. You have to.
Yeah.
One of the things about YouTube, as stupid and as woke YouTube can be,
User friendly.
it's so user friendly and it works so well. It's so easy to put a video up there. Their compression technology is revolutionary. Like these podcast episodes are like 9 to 10 gigabytes. If I were to re-download them from YouTube, they come back at like 500 to 600 megabytes.
Okay.
So you can't really beat their tech, I guess you could say. But with that comes the fact that there's just censorship.
You got to play by their rules.
Yeah. So uploading things to Cloud Hub is a little bit difficult because they don't take massive files. Yeah, I have to compress them and whatnot. I was going to put episode 138 up on Cloud Hub, but I can't do it unless I have a compressed file. I was taking the compressed files off of YouTube and uploading them. But now the episode 138 is not on YouTube, right? They deleted it. They removed it. So I can't get it back as compressed. I only have the gigantic file. So I can't at the moment put 138 up on Cloud Hub until I maybe find a compressor of our own.
I would
something like that.
I would love, since YouTube's listening continuously, I would really love for the individual, I won't even make fun of them, to like come forward and be like, I was the one who clicked the delete button. I want to have that guy on. Bro.
I don't think that's even how it works.
Yeah,
I think it's all algorithmically based, and it picks out a bad word. I guess my fault for putting violence in the title.
Yeah. But it kind of leads me to believe just how convoluted this all really is, because I agree with you that it is a algorithm just sorting through information, and it's like, oh, this triggered the program, it must be full of violence, we have to give it a strike. But somewhere along the line, I have to believe there is a human being okaying all of this, human being pushing a button saying, okay, no, okay, no. But in reality, there's probably no human interaction or oversight. It's just an AI running wild to push out what they only want to be pushed out.
Sure. So we do have our first community guidelines strike on YouTube. You're only allowed 3, and then your channel is completely deleted. So we can't post anything on YouTube for a week. It's been a couple of days now. So at some point midweek next week, we'll be able to put this, unless this gets controversial, and then we won't put it on there. So that's why you should go and always support other platforms, etc., because you never know. At any moment, all the work we've done could just be deleted because we said a mean word or something like that. So good.
You know who also said some mean things?
Who's that?
Kanye West.
All right, get into it, man.
It's a short topic. It's a small topic. I see some propaganda in there. So I guess
what did he say exactly?
So it started with him and Candace Owens wearing White Lives Matter shirts and saying that BLM is like the greatest con company ever to exist. And it's strange because every so many weeks and months, a new chapter leader gets arrested for fraud and embezzlement and stealing money. So, I mean, but the whole company's clearly on the up and up. So that's where it started. And then he said some wild stuff about going after the Jews, or the Jews running Hollywood and the media and stuff like that. And everybody took it super anti-Semitic. And then he also went on to talk about George Floyd and say that he actually died over a fentanyl overdose. YouTube, the Floyd family, CNN, I'm only commenting on what Kanye West said. I'm not saying George Floyd died from a fentanyl overdose. But Kanye West went on and said that he died from fentanyl. So now, just a few days after Alex Jones gets nailed with a $900 million, fine for saying that the Sandy Hook shooting was a false flag operation orchestrated by the government, that set a very bad precedent. Now, if you say something we don't like, now if you play for the other team and you're too famous and you're getting too many views, we are going to find a way to punish you. Well, George Floyd's family, ex-wife, baby's mamas, whatever, is filing a $250 million lawsuit against Kanye West for claiming that George Floyd died from fentanyl.
So for defamation, right?
Yeah.
I guess you
Yes.
could say,
Okay.
which
Better.
is the same thing that Alex Jones got,
Exactly
in trouble for.
So now I smell a lot of propaganda here. I don't know how much true it is, because the one big telling thing is like all of Twitter is super like anti Kanye West, and all of Truth Social is like, this is a great man, he's an intelligent businessman. Like the line is drawn so clearly down the middle that I'm like, I smell something fishy here now. Here's a super famous, super controversial celebrity coming out right before an election. It's too sweet. You know what I'm saying? Like it's too ripe for the picking to happen right now in this manner. But it's also worrisome because, I mean, Joe Rogan could be on that chopping block eventually. Somebody like Dave Smith could end up on the chopping block. Tim Pool keeps getting swatted, or was getting swatted. He could end up, with some type of lawsuit. Before long, that's how they're going to silence the biggest voices. And then that's when trickle down economics are going to work, because then they'll start going after the next biggest show. And then eventually they'll just do some blanket statement, and little shows like us and some of the other shows we work with, it'd be okay, either end your show or you have to file this lawsuit and stuff like that.
Yeah, how easy would that be? What would we be able to do to stop that? Right? Obviously, we don't have the resources Kanye West or Alex Jones has. Yeah, it's a slippery slope, and when it gets muddy, we start going. Yeah.
We remember in was it Christmas Vacation or whatever, where they grease the bottom of the sled and he slides down so fast he goes warp speed. That's the slope we're on right now with all this, because it's the last ditch effort. Think of what a thorn Alex Jones is in the side of the establishment. He's a crazy, abrasive nut job, but he was right about a lot of shit.
And he's been wrong about a lot of things too, but you have a right to say whatever you want, right?
Yeah. But still, the stuff he's right about still causes problems for the establishment. You know what I mean? And here's a way to shut him up. So now next on the list will be, if you talk about the election being stolen, you'll get fined. We'll sue you for defamation. It could be any big topic. And isn't it strange that there's all these conspiracies around the death of George Floyd, and somebody super big and famous that's not towing the line said something? We can't allow you to question what happened to George Floyd. We can't allow you to question BLM. We can't allow you to question the Summer of Love.
It's really just so annoying. Like, you just can't say.
Oh, it is. At the end of the day,
forces trying to like manipulate everything and press you.
Yeah.
I think what you're saying is important. And I think the difference people should take into account here is there's a difference between like us posting an episode that gets taken down and a strike, and a lawsuit being enacted against us for saying
$50 million,
right, which would completely destroy a person's life.
Yeah.
So there's a difference there. I'd say the community guideline strike is way less serious than someone trying to use the courts against you because you said something.
Yep.
So that's definitely the precedent we don't want being set and should not be accepted.
And if you just look at, how the courts lean and, just the general justice system in this country, sooner or later being canceled will be a fucking an offense. It'll be a felony. You're canceled, so now we got to put you on trial and fucking fine you $20 million.
You now own, right? You owe $1 billion.
Yeah.
It's really just crazy, man. I guess what Kanye said was a little bit crazy.
Yes.
I will compare it a little bit. Again, these are not my words. We're just kind of commenting on other things that are occurring. There's another YouTuber called Ethan Klein. You might be familiar with him, Cap.
Possibly.
He's a shit lib, honestly. And he said some, and I guess in response to this whole thing, he made a comment in response to Ben Shapiro saying how, like, if there's another Holocaust, he wants Ben on the first.
I think I know what you're talking about
train, which is just insane thing to say. He's trying to say that he was saying it in jest. Ethan Klein is Jewish as well. He's been banned from YouTube for saying that for a week. So he's somebody on the left, I guess you could say, and he said something pretty crazy, and he got banned for a week. The thing is now, the difference we were trying to draw here is that I don't foresee a $1 billion lawsuit now being brought against Ethan Klein or being upheld against Ethan Klein. Like, he gets a strike and he gets banned for a week. All right, you'll be back in a week, Ethan Klein. You get to continue your career.
So, yeah, but if Anthony Fauci gets proven to have lied to America, if he is proven, whoever is judging this episode, if he's proven guilt, is there going to be a lawsuit against him for $1 billion?
How about George Bush, Colin Powell, Dick Cheney, John McCain, John Bolton, all the guys who orchestrated the war in Iraq? That was predicated on the lie. 500,000 people died. George Bush is on his ranch doing, hunting deer and doing whatever the fuck he likes to do.
Cocaine,
weird paintings and stuff. No nothing there. No big deal there, right? So it's you know what I mean? Like,
it's a one-way street. Because somebody on Twitter said, like, oh, isn't it great that Alex Jones finally got what he deserves? Who else should be next? And I was like, I don't know, everyone on CNN. It's a two-way street, but it's really not going to be a two-way street. This is going to be the long arm of the law for the establishment, and how it's their last resort of how they could actually punish somebody.
Yeah. Like Dick Cheney should be next, right? He's pretty bad. Things that some of those guys have done bad, and people who actually have their hands on the lever of power and will actually do stuff that ends up with like people dead. They face no repercussions or anything ever.
Kanye West wore
instead
a T-shirt that upset people. Said, and okay, and how much anti-Semitic shit gets spewed out by the left, Omar or something like that. There's plenty of congressmen and women who are not pro-Israel and pro-Jew and Jewish people and all that stuff. When are they going to get brought up? Doubtful. You should have seen some of the interviews. They just there was the Chris Como. He has a TV show, shockingly again, where he interviewed Kanye and just berated him. And then there was this other guy, I wish I could remember his name. He was like, are you going to apologize? And Kanye's like, no. He's like, you should apologize.
Piers Morgan, maybe.
Yes. Yeah. There we go.
Piers Morgan's usually not bad, but there is. Good.
This was just toe the line, though.
Yeah, I get it. Like trying to, bully him into.
And he just sat there and dug his heels in. And it's funny because I said time and time again, Andrew Cuomo is going to double down, dig his heels in. You're a hero. We're going to give you a book and an Emmy and da 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 da. Kanye West digs his heels in. Monster.
There is something, man. Look, I love Jewish people. I think all people in the world are great. But there is something about like saying anything about Jewish people or specifically about Israel that you just get crushed and canceled immediately. I just listened to Roger Waters, if you know, from Pink Floyd. He was on Rogan, and he's been accused of being an anti-Semite because he's involved in the whole Palestine-Israel conflict, and he tends to like fall on the side of thinking the Palestinians are getting fucked over by the whole project there that the Israelis are working on. I thought it was really interesting conversation, but like just because you don't like what the government of Israel is doing, they try to conflate that with you being an anti-Semite or something like that. So again, that's not exactly what Kanye West did. What he did was say some other crazy shit, which I'm not even sure 100% exactly said, but that's just a weird dynamic that always goes on around that topic.
Yeah.
What's up, everyone? It's Skaggs, and I'm here to tell you about a new partner of ours, the Patriot Cigar Company. Now, I don't know about you, but I like to casually enjoy a good cigar with a nice glass of bourbon, especially during the fall months. The Patriot Cigar Company just launched their first 5 cigars, including the Hellfire, TNT, Mark 48, and Moab. Each cigar is handmade with premium tobacco that is aged a minimum of 3 years in Nicaragua. The best part about it is that you can go to mypatriotcigars.com and use our promo code DOOMED for 15% off your purchase. So if you're ready to sit back and enjoy a nice cigar around the campfire, head on over to their website and see what they have to offer using the link in our episode description below. All right,
yeah,
so
that's something I found interesting so far this week.
It is. Kanye.
I gotta say, it was a weirdly, quietly odd week.
Yeah,
There wasn't too much explosiveness.
It was. There was a couple things here that I had to scrounge up that I just find interesting. Being a former Bernie bro, whatever that was back in the day. One of the things I always liked about Bernie and, AOC and the squad was that they were against war, right? So as a libertarian now, of course, I'm against war, but I've always have been. It's always been like a value of mine. I've always, kind of held. And I think one of the most insane things that's happened over the past 2 years is them becoming pro-war, especially in the face of the Ukraine war here. So first, I want to start off with, let's find the mouse here. There was a AOC was, I think, in Queens earlier in the week. And some people, as she was having a town hall rally, and some people started kind of heckling her at the town hall rally about the war in Ukraine. So let's see what they had to say and what exactly happened here.
People are not happy with sending millions and billions to Ukraine.
Congresswoman, none of this matters unless there's a nuclear war, which you voted to send arms and weapons to Ukraine. Tulsi Gabbard, she's left the Democratic Party because they're a bunch of war hawks. Okay? You originally voted, you ran as an outsider, yet you've been voting to start this war in Ukraine. You're voting to start a thermonuclear war with Russia and China. Why are you playing with the lives of American citizens? You're playing with our lives.
There will be no neighbors if there's a nuclear bomb. You voted to mobilize and send money to Ukrainian Nazis. You're a coward. You're a progressive socialist. Where are you against the war mobilization? He's telling the right truth. You have done nothing. Tulsi Gabbard has shown guts where you've shown cowardice. I believed in you, and you became the very thing you sought to fight against. That's what you've become. You are the establishment, and you are the reason why everybody will end up in a nuclear war unless you choose to stand up right now and denounce the Democratic Party. Will you do that? Yes or no? Okay, simple. Are you going to stop nuclear war? Yes or no? There is no line, because this is bullshit. None of this matters if we're all dead. None of it. You know that. Then let's take it up right now, because this is the only thing that matters. This is the only thing that matters right now. We could be in a nuclear war at any minute, and you continue to fund it. That's what's going on. Why not right now? You're the liar here. Nobody has held you accountable.
We can't talk about how AOC has been funding the nuclear war right now because this gentleman's being rude. Yeah. It's so rude to bring up the fact that at any moment, yes, we could possibly be incinerated in the nuclear fire. He's so rude. How dare he bring this up? He's a rude guy. That's him. Him being rude is more important than actually being a nuclear war occurring. Let's listen to the end here.
Accountable. That's what's happening. And it is time for you to stand up and realize that what you've been saying has been lies. Let your conscience come through for once.
All right. So, I mean, I've been wondering for months, where has AOC's supporters been to push her on this? If you were a Bernie bro like me or whatever, and you were some leftist, progressive, commie hippie, you're against war. Why have they not pressed her for a long time? So finally, someone said something to her. I don't know these people. I know AOC, her and someone and her campaign tried to do some opposition research and figure out who these people were, because they mentioned Tulsi Gabbard. I think it's just interesting because AOC has not said a word at all about Ukraine in months. And this is the first time she's being held to task, and it's only coming from just normal people.
I'm glad to see people are waking up, because this was the topic of our last episode, where people just don't know that nuclear war could start at any moment.
Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to hide this, but so she finally does make a statement later. She didn't really say anything there. So this is on her Instagram story. Someone asked her the question, could you speak on being confronted by anti-war protesters? And AOC says, sure. They were actually not anti-war protesters. They were right-wing Trumpers, and some were LaRouche cult members, not progressives as they claimed. Their own social media history shows this. It was a stunt that they do from time to time. Last time they showed up to a town hall yelling about eating babies or something. It's a thing that they do to go viral and draw in people. This time they were parroting pro-Putin talking points. It is not anti-war to support Russia's imperialist project to invade and seize neighboring countries either. Ukraine, like other nations, has the right to self-determination. The only person instigating threats of nuclear weapons is Putin, no one else. As far as their comments about Tulsi Gabbard voted for blah, 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 blah. Let's see. That part's not really important. She's okay. She says, happy to dig into Ukraine in other posts, which these other posts never came, or at least I saw. A lot of these right-wing video and social media stunts are predicated on people not knowing the context and just believing whatever the person is saying for face value. For example, in the video, they cut out the part where they waited to yell until a deaf constituent was trying to ask a question, so it would look like everyone was mad at their words instead of the fact that they were harming a person with a disability.
Boy, just projection. They're Trumpers, they're right wingers, they're pro-Putin points. They're harming somebody else. None of this is my doing. They don't know the context. The best part is they just want you to take it at face value. If you go on Twitter, every left-leaning blue check shit lib wants you to take all of their tweets at face fucking value.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, you know what didn't come out here? Her position.
Yeah,
at all.
Too.
She never answered the question. She never really.
She should be a running back. Just
yeah,
juking left and right, man.
Used like the establishment talking points, right? If you say anything about the war in Ukraine, it's a pro-Putin talking point. That's what Nancy Pelosi, that's what Joe Biden have said. She doesn't answer the question. She doesn't really make a comment about nuclear war besides saying it's Putin's fault. You know, that's not anything.
But yeah, so okay, once again, she wants us to take what she's saying at face value. Yes, Putin is the only one talking about using nuclear weapons, but that's enough people in the world to be concerned about talking about nuclear weapons, because they're pointed at your precious Ukraine and they're pointed at us.
It's the guy who actually has nuclear weapons, right? It's not like me and you talking about it. Like, we don't have any to use.
Yeah.
So people could be like, don't worry about those guys. No big deal. They have no nukes, right?
So yes, Putin's the only one talking about it, but you must take him seriously, because if you're not, here's something from somebody who used to be pro-war, who was always, in favor of shut him down hard and shut him down fast. If you underestimate your opponent, if you underestimate your enemy, you are going to have a bad time. You're probably going to lose. So does that mean not only are you somehow anti-war, does it also mean you're underestimating your opponent once again? And I know the American military and American military defense system is probably the greatest in the world, but I don't want to test that shit either.
Yeah, of course. Right. We just want to barbecue. We don't want to be incinerated.
I mean, there's a limit to fuck around and find out.
Look, man, one of my biggest conspiracies is that a lot of the shit going on the past couple of years has been just a giant psyop, and like social media and whatnot, or the psyop machine trying to turn people into just parrots, right? That change their profile picture and do whatever they say. And, like if whatever narrative or position is changed, all the people follow lockstep without a critical thought. And I always, have said, I think I said to Unfit Statesman when we went on his show, like the ultimate goal of this is eventually just to like get people lockstep to just support whatever war is going on at the moment. So she literally says this time they were parroting pro-Putin talking points. it's not anti-war to support Russia's imperialist project to invade and seize neighboring countries either. So what she's saying is it's not anti-war to question this war. It is anti-war to actually support and fund a war. And that's like the projection. That's the double speak. That's everything they've been trying to do. Like the anti-racism. If you're an anti-racist, how are you an anti-racist? You have to discriminate on the basis
You have
of
to be
race.
a racist.
Anti-war, you have to support war in order to be anti-war. That's this game, this psyop that they're running on people. And I always thought it would come to war, and it definitely has now. I at least get some validation in that regard. Put all that bullshit aside. Why can't we just be like, hey, I think it's better if we sit down at a negotiation table and we bring our demands to Putin, right? But at least we start there. I'm not saying, and I understand the concept of Putin's, flaunting the nukes as like leverage, try and maybe like scare a better deal for himself. Okay, maybe you're right? Maybe Putin is completely bluffing. I don't know. But how about we make an invitation to sit down and we hear the guy out.
Yeah.
And not only do we hear him out, but he's got to hear us out too. And he's got to hear out Zelensky. The thing is, that has not occurred. That is not a position.
And no one's interested in it.
No one's interested. The president is in no interest whatsoever to having a peace negotiation. Pretty sure Zelensky has said his position for peace now is the removal of Putin. That's obviously just insane, right? That's not going to happen unless he just gets sniped out or something. And then some other bad Russian person will just take over anyway, and the war will continue. So it's just nonsensical. I going back to AOC and whatnot here, this is just crazy because she's supposed to be a progressive, right? A democratic socialist, a hippie.
She's the establishment, man.
So
either that or she's a deep white hat and is somebody from the top helping pull the strings, because she is her own 3-ring fucking circus, man.
Yeah, I back in 2016, right? As I was living down there, I voted for her because I saw her as like an anti-establishment person at the time.
Yeah.
Someone was going to go in there and throw wrenches, and now she's just the most cozy person with the establishment that could exist, to the point where she's supporting war, not supporting peace.
Because
I would have expected AOC to take a more nuanced view and propose, hey, let's like try and have a negotiation and see where it goes. But no, that's not it. Go ahead, what are we gonna say?
There's been the backroom deal that AOC has all of Congress and her life ahead of her. You know what I mean? Like she's getting some Ruth Ginsburg type promises. You know what I mean? Like sky's the limit is for a young woman like her with the popularity that she has and the magnetism that she has. I don't know what they're promising her, but she has a long time to do
in a few years.
Yeah,
they've already floated
do whatever she wants. It, all of Congress could really be open to her, and all she has to do is toe the line. I mean, they already caught the squad basically rotating their votes. This was a while back. I don't even know on what topic, but like if AOC was down in numbers, she'll just be anti whatever and openly vote against this bill, but the rest of the squad will vote for it, and it'll still pass. But AOC's left looking like, I tried, guys. I'm your hero. We'll get them next time.
Yeah, they'll like, kind of do like a wheel to like brush off criticism they'll get from their base of progressives or whatever. So not to be too harsh on AOC, but she's not the only one. She's not the only member of the squad. She's not the only progressive. Now here, Cap, you are my Twitter Padawan, right? Let me teach you something about Twitter. This is a little bit different on the website than it is on your phone. So on your phone, you can go to anybody's profile like AOC. And once you're on their profile, you can type into the search bar a word or a phrase or whatever. And then push search, and that will show you all the times the person has tweeted with that word or phrase in it. Okay. It's a little bit different on the website, which we have to use here for the podcast. So in order to look at someone's specific tweets about a certain word, you go to advanced search in the search menu and you type in the word. So I'm going to type in the word Ukraine. And then I'm going to go down to the account. So Ukraine is the word I'm searching for, and then I'm going to
Mhm.
search in from these accounts. So I'm going to type in at Bernie Sanders. Sorry, spell them wrong.
Thank God it's not me doing it.
I'm going to search. And I'm going to go to latest. The last time Bernie Sanders has tweeted with the word Ukraine in a tweet is April 8th. Now, let's remember, Vladimir Putin invaded Ukraine in February. So about a month and a half after the war started is the last time Bernie Sanders tweeted about Ukraine. And he said, in the midst of the pandemic, the war in Ukraine, massive income, wealth inequality, and the attacks on democracy, we cannot forget about the existential threat to our planet from climate change. The recent IPCC report was clear. We have to act boldly and now. So Bernie Sanders has not said a word on Twitter since April 8th about Ukraine. Let's try the next person. Ukraine. Accounts. Let's go back to our good friend here, AOC. The last time AOC has tweeted with the word Ukraine in a tweet is March 29th. When did Vladimir Putin invade Ukraine, Captain?
February.
All right. And she said, when we look back at the decision to impeach Trump over Ukraine today, could you imagine if the naysayers and those claiming to be politically savvier won? We would be explaining why we allowed it to happen instead of the Senate explaining why they acquitted. So it's not even about the war. It's about the Ukraine impeachment scandal.
Trump derangement syndrome.
Let's go Ukraine. Let's go to, oh boy, I'm going to butcher spelling this one, but Rashida Tlaib. Might have spelled that wrong. We'll see. No, yeah, spelled it wrong.
I like the little chicken.
Yeah. Bear with us here, folks. Getting to a point here. Let's go to another member of the squad, actually. Jamal. New York, I think it is. Nope.
Wowing. I don't think there's two M's.
Yeah, I won't. I'll spare you my misspellings of the squad's names. But long story short, I did this before we even started the podcast, and not a single one of the squad has said anything on Twitter, at least, about Ukraine since like a month after the war started. And a lot of the tweets are not actually about the war in Ukraine. They're just about something else that has to do with Ukraine.
And they all voted in favor for supporting sending more money and weapons to Ukraine, I assume.
They all voted for every weapons package, every funding of billions of dollars into the war in Ukraine. These are the progressives, folks. These are the hippies. The hippies are now pro-war. As I have coined them, they are pro-Wargressives now. That is what they are. And it's the most shocking, like crazy, everything you used to stand for, you're now the opposite of, is what these people
I wonder how the old hippies of like the 70s and 80s are like gonna vote this time around, because like some of them are like true to the nature of being like a hippie, you know what I'm saying? And like they might like have like realized like, holy shit, we're probably gonna have to vote Republican now,
right? Yeah. So again, right, like who's your anti-war candidate at the moment? Somehow Donald J. Trump is your anti-war candidate at the moment. It really is bizarre. And let's be honest with you, Donald Trump is really not anti-war. When he was president, he did a lot of, he tried to be here and there, but there were a lot of decisions he made that were just continuing a lot of the shit policies, like with Yemen and with Syria and whatnot. He did try here and there, but not exactly perfect. But he's the best anti-war candidate at the moment.
Yeah.
Unless
best player on the board for it.
Until we see who the libertarian is going to be. So that's it, man. I just find it bizarre. Why do you think that they have lost their balls when it comes to criticizing war, the progressives? Cap, what do you think?
I mean, you gotta pull back the curtain. Like I said, AOC and Omar, they have their entire lives, their entire careers ahead of them, and they're both these huge progressive lightning rods that have young voters who are going to turn into older people and want them to run in bigger positions. And before you know it, we're talking Speaker of the House, VP, President, Supreme Court. You know, obviously obviously Washington's very corrupt. You rub my back, I make sure you get on the ballot. You do this favor for me, you got a seat in the Senate, blah, 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 blah. They got their whole careers ahead of them. It's very easy to become, if they weren't already establishment, very easy to become establishment and toe the line. And these progressives are questionable. I'm talking about the progressives in Congress, not the people as a whole. Their policies are questionable, their values are questionable, their virtue signaling is questionable. So I just think it's too sweet of a deal for them not to. And on top of it, what we learned with COVID is one topic, drill it down your pie hole, don't let you up for any air. That topic is going to be Ukraine. It's too important. Of even if AOC is negating on becoming the next Speaker of the House and she truly doesn't want to go to war, this is too important to have her side or agree any other way than the way they need the narrative to go. Because if AOC came out of the blue and was like, no, we need to start talking peace deals, that's going to send shockwaves through the agenda, through the establishment.
Correct. So I said here the other day, and another truth, I think the people who normally say silence is violence are actually literally committing violence through silence on this specific topic. AOC does have some, weight behind her words. So does Bernie. So does the rest of the squad. Like, they could at any moment comment on Ukraine and the war, right? It's not that they've been out there saying, hey, we need to take down Putin, the crazy shit like Lindsey Graham said, where we got to assassinate him, or just every day, like President Biden talking about the war, this, or Nancy Pelosi. Like, they just haven't said anything.
Yeah.
Right? That's telling that they haven't said anything at all. They're not they're not saying things like encouraging more war, but they're not saying anything at all
to stop it. Yeah.
Leads me to believe that, like, they've been bought off, or they've been told be quiet, right? Because
at the end of the day, look at the way they vote.
Yeah, right. I know, I agray with that. But my point is, I think they've probably been told be quiet.
Yeah.
Right. Because if you question this, then we're going to not, they're holding things up. They've become part of the establishment, is the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah.
And this is like a case study. Be aware to the America First people, because right now the America First people, they sound great.
I try.
What they're promising is not, as a libertarian, it's not perfect, but it's pretty good. Just be careful, right? Because I could see the America First people quickly, if China invades Taiwan, turning into, we got to take down the communists over there, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They spin on a dime and not represent a real America First anymore, just like the progressives have.
Yeah, I try to explain this to people, and this is like, I'll say with like noobs or people who aren't as immersed as we are in this nonsense. Normies. Yeah, normies. I try and tell so many people, like, yes, coming up in the next election, voting red and fixing your school systems and focusing locally on your elections and who is directly protecting you and in charge around you is very important. And voting Republican right now is a way to change that. But eventually, like, the pendulum's going to swing to the other side. And, 10 years, 15 years of heavily red right-wing voting, you're only just going to start building brick by brick the red swamp. You know what I mean? Where all these people get thrown out or voted out, and then you have Trump, start saying, I like A, B, and C. A, B, and C starts winning the seats in the Senate. Yes, abortion is whatever positive or negative outcome. Yes, we got the Second Amendment, but somewhere down the road, it's just going to be a Republican dictatorship. And people, like, they can't see too far down the road to realize, like, if we go too crazy in the other way, they're just going to become the powerful party and start their own propaganda.
Well, that would mean that they've essentially won a monopoly on the political process, which they could definitely get a majority, but they'll never have, no party will ever have a complete monopoly.
Right, because I mean, there's still resistance right now. Yeah.
So what you're saying is, I think, where the Libertarian Party can fit in, and this is something I've heard Dave, and this is now the strategy of the Libertarian Party, is Republicans are terrified of people voting for libertarians because they're terrified if you vote for a libertarian, you're voting for a Democrat, right? Because you're splitting the vote of conservatives, because I guess libertarians are a little bit more conservative than they are liberal. That should be used as a weapon against Republicans, right? And I've heard Dave say this. Look, if you're a good Republican like a Thomas Massie or Rand Paul, we're going to leave you alone. We're not going to do anything. We're not going to run anybody against you. We're not going to criticize you. We're not going to say anything. So there'd be no vote to split. But if you're a Mitch McConnell, right? Yeah, we're going to come after you and we're going to fuck your shit up. We're going to help you lose. Right. So you better get better on the issues. You better start like having a backbone and being more of an actual conservative or something like that. Because if you don't, then we're going to run a libertarian who's going to get 5% of the vote and you're going to lose by that 5% margin. So get better and there won't be any libertarian running against.
Smart idea.
At the end of the day, I don't care what party's in charge. I just want things to get better.
Good people. Yeah,
exactly. We want liberty and freedom and good shit to win, not the team name. The only team names I want to win are the sports teams, the Yankees, the Giants, etc. So I think that's a good place for the Libertarian Party to fit into, kind of,
not a bad idea.
Yeah. So what do you want to talk about next, Cap?
We got
the new stuff from the CDC. You talked about Kanye West. Anything else you have on mind before you want me to go into CDC stuff?
No, let's go right into the CDC. Like I said, I was very, very unimpressed with this week in politics. I mean, the big thing going around Truth Social is that the John Durham, Igor Danchenko case, to how he was a paid operative and he was paid by the Clintons and basically knew he was lying to the FBI and all that stuff. He was found,
the whole inception of the Russiagate investigation.
He was found not guilty on all 4 accounts. Shocking.
I don't know that much about that, but
I didn't pay much attention to it because I said that's going to be the outcome. He's not going to get found guilty. If he's still alive, he's gonna come out innocent. Otherwise, the Clintons are going to kill him. But it does not mean John Durham's investigation or trials or cases have come to an end. I think there's more coming down the road. I don't know what exactly. But I mean, we're working our way up the ladder, but no real justice is coming to light here. So, but and the one weird thing is we know Trump didn't work with Russia and wasn't a Russian asset and didn't deserve to be spied on. And the Pfizer court was lied to start this spying on him.
Well, I think that's what this lawsuit was about. This guy Danchenko or whatever his name is,
lying. Yeah. So now Trump's not a Russian asset and this guy's guilty. Then where did this story come from?
That's my question, right? Like, no, I think this guy's not guilty, meaning he didn't lie to the FBI, right, or something like that. So
well, that's how they're saying.
Right. But Trump was also found not guilty of any of that stuff. And we know now, all these years later, of course, that's not the case. He was not colluding with Russia. I mean, I guess if you're shit lib, you're still programmed to believe that. But in reality, the rest of us know that's just complete horseshit. Yeah. So, like, I don't know. What does that mean? The FBI just made the whole shit up? Like, the guy didn't tell them this, so they just made the whole shit up. They got to use 4 years of just, a fake fucking investigation based on nothing. Like, if the guy didn't even tell them this, is I guess what the court case is saying. Like, no, this guy didn't do this, right? So who did it then? Where did it begin? Where was it incepted by? The FBI, I guess. That's Clinton. The only way, or something like that. So that's bizarre. It really is.
Yeah, it is. But you know what? I knew there was going to be no justice. So I mean, if they get Hillary up in, to testify one day, I'll start paying attention. But
okay. All right. Let's move on to our next topic here. This one's interesting because this happened within the last 2 days, and I've watched this closely because I'm invested here because it has to do with children and I have a kid, and I've watched this story kind of change over the course of yesterday and today, real quick. So let's start off with, I'm going to do a little reading here, which I haven't done in a while. So bear with me, Cap. I'm going to go to Reuters, and this is from yesterday. It says U.S. committee recommends COVID shot for CDC's free vaccine program. And it says an expert committee on Wednesday recommended that COVID-19 shots become part of the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's CDC vaccine program for children, which provides many types of free inoculations to millions of kids each year. While all COVID-19 vaccines are currently provided free in the United States by the federal government, the U.S. public health emergency is expected to end in early 2023, and the private market will take over distribution of COVID vaccines and treatments. The committee's recommendation allows for distribution by the vaccines for children's programs under the CDC's current COVID vaccine guidance, which is for all children over the age of 6 months to be vaccinated and those age 5 and older to receive booster shots. So if you're 6 months or older, you're now recommended to get the vaccine. 5 and older, you could receive booster shots for the free vaccinations for child program. During the advisory meeting, health officials emphasized that they were not voting on adding COVID-19 shots to the CDC annual vaccination schedule. They said this was a step in that direction, but they did not lay out additional steps or the timeline for such a move. So if you watch the discourse around this yesterday, everyone, including myself, was like, they're going to mandate vaccines. They're mandating vaccines for kids to go to public school. That's what the CDC is doing. The CDC is making that recommendation. And the corporate press, social media, the fact checkers came out, right? Tucker did a segment on this where he echoed the same sentiment that's going to get mandated for kids in school. I can't open it now because the Washington Post sucks and they're fucking making me want to pay for it now. But I read an article earlier today where I could read it for free. Let's see if it pops up. No, I got to pay for it. And they were saying everything Tucker talked about last night is complete bullshit. The CDC is not recommending this for schools. They're not mandating it for schools. This has to do with the free vaccine program only. That's what every, talking point, established agenda talking point was this morning. Well, then what happened this afternoon? Hang on, let me finish the story.
Okay, go ahead.
But what happens this afternoon? Well, part 2 of the vote occurs, right? The CDC reconvenes and they decide we have to now finish what we were talking about yesterday. So what did they say in part 2 of the vote? Breaking: CDC votes to add COVID-19 vaccines to children's immunization schedule. Not even 12 hours later. I mean, like literally not even 12 hours later, the exact same thing that everyone was warning about, which maybe they were a little bit ahead of the ball, right? Because the CDC was saying, no, we're not putting it on the vaccination schedule. We're thinking about it, but we're not, what did that other article say? Like, that's something down the road. We're not sure the timeline yet. 12 hours later.
They didn't lie. 12 hours later is down the road.
Speaking earlier in the morning, Dr. Patricia Wody said that the COVID-19 vaccine has been placed as a recommendation from 6 months of age and older. During a question period, one member of the committee raised questions over how the vaccine being included on the schedule when it's been recommended for use under emergency use authorizations, to which Wody said that they spoke with the Office of General Counsel, who said that it would be okay to add. The vote comes after the committee approved 15-0 to add the vaccination to the federally funded Vaccine for Kids program, which provides vaccines to children at no or low cost to families. So again, yesterday, it was misinformation to say they're going to add this to the vaccine schedule. Today, they added it to the vaccine schedule. And what does that mean exactly? It is just a recommendation, right? The CDC does not technically have the power to mandate that kids going to school have to get the COVID-19 vaccine, but it is official now on the schedule. So like schools have a schedule of all the vaccines that are recommended by the CDC. All the kids have to have these shots. COVID-19 vaccine is now going to be on there. What do you think is going to happen, Cap? I'll leave it with you.
Of course it's going to get mandated. All the super blue states, California, New York, Illinois, DC, all that, they are going to mandate. And I'm pretty sure already in DC, the schools have mandated it. You can't go to school without a vaccine. They're going to force every kid to get vaccinated. And on top of it, the next vote will be to add the boosters. I'm glad you convinced me to let you finish the story, because I would have had my foot in my mouth, because I was going to say, oh, interesting. Like, they are listening to the outrage so quickly that they're like, oh, no. We're not putting it on the schedule yet. Like, that was, I could see, like,
Right.
when they say something like with the whole monkeypox things, like, they read the room real quick, and
Sure.
they're like, okay, monkeypox is not going to go over well. I don't even,
They float
like,
things out there, which is what I thought they were
Yeah.
doing too. That was how I was going to preface this whole conversation
Yeah.
first, before they went and did part 2 later today. That this is what they do with the vaccine passport, with all these things. They
Yeah.
float it out there. They see how it goes, and if there's a tremendous groundswell of opposition, they'll back off.
Yeah.
That's something everybody should keep in mind. But that's what I thought was going on. But go ahead.
And so yeah, that's what I thought was going on. But just, if the CDC wants us to not think they're paid established shills, like, just once, I'm pretty sure, like, we could find a history of it. Every time the CDC votes, or Congress goes to the CDC to see if they would recommend for children younger and younger and younger to get the vaccine, they've always been like, yes, sir, A-OK, go do it. You know what I mean? Like, just once vote no. Just one, like,
Right.
throw us off the track.
Pretend. Right.
Yeah.
What did
Yeah.
you say? Lie to me. Like, make it
lie to me a
believable.
little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're going to vote in favor every single time. But this, the 12, that's disrespectful. And it's pathetic to have fact checkers spend an entire day saying, no, this is fact check. Because I can promise you, all those stories and all those posts still have the fact check on the bottom of it, even though this vote passed today.
Right. And if you can, go and check out the Washington Post article. You can, like, read one for free. Can't bring it up here now because I read it earlier this morning. I think I commented it. No, I didn't. I thought I maybe copied a line from it, but I didn't. But it's real bad about this. It's like a classic. The establishment
Cover-up
does
story.
something right, and then the corporate press swoops in to, like, cover them and make everything, like, say everyone criticizing this is wrong, they're misinformation, etc. It's a good case study on seeing how this shit works in, like, live almost, right? Like, I was watching this happen live within,
because this
a
happened
day.
in under 48 hours.
Under 48 hours, under 24 hours. Actually.
Well, that's a good thing, because now conspiracy theories are down to being proven true to 24. 12 hours, man. Look at that.
You're not
You're
gonna
a
be able to
conspiracy
finish,
theorist. And I'm right.
Before we can't even finish an episode before we've been, like, we say it, and by the time we're done recording, it might be already proven as true. I think so. What this means is most likely, like, a New York and a Connecticut, right? They're going to probably follow this recommendation and mandate that the kids 6 months or older, if they're going to go to school, have to get the vaccine, or 5 months or older, they're going to have to get the booster. Now, I think this is interesting, because this could really turn a lot of people off, right? We saw once you go after people's kids, it turns them into monsters, right? So turns them into domestic terrorists.
Literal domestic terrorists.
This could be one of the all-time great things the government has ever done, because they might strike a kill blow against public education. If you have to get your 6 months old vaccinated, or you have to sign up for your 5-year-old to get boosters every fucking 3 months, you're not going to send them to public school. You don't want to do that. What are you going to do? You're going to homeschool them, or you're going to send them to a private school that doesn't follow that rule. Again, there's options here. And I think that is probably going to happen a lot. I've heard a lot of good things about homeschooling, homeschool groups, things like that.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you want to make money in the coming years, figure out how to buy a
homeschool
place of operation, or how to start running the community, a community group page, and saying, we're going to do it here at my house Monday through Wednesday, and at Mike's house Thursdays and Fridays. We're going to teach, and you're going to pay, I assume there's some overhead to group homeschooling. So, or if you already are a school and you want to have just a line out the door and around the corner, don't force the vaccine.
I mean, a homeschool is not like a homeschool doesn't have to be in someone's house. like what you're
Right.
saying,
That's
right?
what I'm
like,
saying. Find a
yeah,
place
it's just another
to
school.
operate.
It's a
Yeah.
non-government. It's like a secular non-government
Yeah.
school. It's not
If
a
you have a
religious school.
storefront, you could theoretically, you know,
Right.
you could turn a restaurant into
Sure.
a homeschool.
Yeah, if you have, yeah, right. You hire teachers and whatnot to do it.
Yeah.
So I think this is actually going to come back to harm them. It's going to push more people into that avenue. And I think also another thing, it's going to also push a lot of like support more towards is the school choice stuff, right? Which we've seen is like spreading like wildfire. If you don't know what I'm talking about, there's this new idea where, hey, I pay taxes and some of the taxes are supposed to go towards school. If I choose not to send my kid to public school, why am I still paying taxes for school? Because I still have to pay the private school or the homeschool. So a lot of states, and there's been a lot of like changes in certain places where they've actually been able to pass like school vouchers. This is not the perfect libertarian thing in the world, right? It's not great. You still have to pay taxes and they go towards school. But now you have a choice where your own tax dollars would go. And then logically, you would send your tax dollars, your school tax funding to the school that you send your kid to, even if it's a private school or a homeschool. Who loses the funding in that scenario? The public school, right? That's another. So this plus the vaccine thing, I think public education's days could possibly be numbered.
Yeah, because think of you pull enough kids out and then you stop getting all that tax money, that school is going to go to hell in a handbasket fast. A year, 2 years, man, it's going to get real bad. And the Democrats will, you know, and the legacy media will spin it that they're harming.
Well, they'll spin it that we're against education. We want kids to be dumb and not have the resources and this and that, whatever. No, that's quite the opposite. We just want to
reallocate the resources.
Right. It's quite the opposite. We want kids to do good. I'm sure you do too, Cap, right? We just want a separation of education and state, right? Because when you have the two of them together, what does it become? It's an indoctrination center, not an education
mess. It's center. Funny to think like I went to church a few weeks ago and the priest was talking about separation of state and church. And he and obviously, you know, if you go to church, you're an extremist.
Yes, you know? Nowadays,
And he said a line, he goes, just because the state and religion is separated doesn't mean you can like then immorally go about your life and say I'm making choices for the state even though it's immoral. There's no religion here, so we could be as immoral as we want to. Obviously it was a big lecture on abortion and it was one of the harder masses for me to sit through because, you know, it was basically a political lecture on top of it. So it's interesting, like now we even have to go like no state and church, we have to separate state and education as well.
Yeah, we also need to separate state and money, right? That's another big
state
problem.
And
the Federal
anything.
Reserve. Anything the government's
food supply, water supply, hunting, fishing.
Yes, anything. Separation of it all. Yeah, I think that's a pretty based priest actually, and he sounds kind of a little bit libertarian.
Might be
because that's another criticism from conservatives about libertarianism, right? That like, oh, if you're a libertarian, then you just let people can do whatever they want. No. Right, you're just free and you have liberty. It's
amazing
if like drugs are legal, I'm not gonna like walk around and be like giving people heroin. I'm still opposed to people doing that. You can still have your own personal beliefs and like advocate for things you don't like. You just can't take a gun and force someone to obey you at all commands, like because they have freedom.
People always on all sides take any piece of information to the most extreme. Oh, well, you know, then, you know, there's going to be crackheads walking everywhere. No, they're not. They're probably going to go home and
there's
do
already
all their
walking everywhere.
Yeah. And I say it to people too, like when I say like, oh, legalize all drugs, like you live a sheltered life as it is. You have this little schedule of yours that you go by. How many crackheads do you run across in your day-to-day life? Zero. My guess is when crack becomes legal, it's still going to be zero. Okay. You don't go out that much. You're not riding the subways. You're not running around midtown and downtown. You're going to the CVS in the middle of the fucking suburbs. You know,
right.
I don't think
it's the other end of the coin. It's the conservatives then wanted to use the power of the state to like dictate morality through the end of a barrel. Right. You can still be against things morally. You just can't control everyone with, the police, the state, etc.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother conversation for another time. Anything else you want to bring up before we go into our tweets of the week?
Tweets of the week, because I actually re-looked at some of them, and there's some good talking points in there.
Okay.
And I gotta say, man, being on Twitter more is just, I think it's the algorithm of people who I interact with. I think it's time that I start like expanding my Twitter searches and start following different types of people, because there's nothing on my feed that is thought-provoking. There's nothing on my feed of substance. A lot of these shit libs it's just low-hanging fruit, and it isn't even good low-hanging fruit. Some of the stuff is just, the rebuttals are such the obvious rebuttal to give, my new favorite thing though is like, there's a couple of people who are like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how good is Joe Biden doing? On a scale of 1 to 10, how do you think Trump should be indicted? Yes or no? Are you doing A, B, and C, blah blah? And I love just commenting 1, no, 1.
You're trying to,
screw up
their polls.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like fast food. You shouldn't eat it every single day. You should have a well-balanced diet of everything. Like, you should follow the shit people. You should push back. We can mine them for tweets of the week. But you should follow, like, I follow a page about possums, and every day they post videos about possums doing nothing. It's just interesting. It's funny. It's cute. It's whatever. Right. You need to balance your diet on social media.
I gotta expand, because it's just grifting, and it's just,
you're stuck in a grifting black circle.
Yeah, it's just, everybody is just Brooklyn dad saying this crap for the likes and the retweets at the end of the day.
Yeah, but you doing that is interesting, because it kind of shows people how this shit operates, how like an algorithm operates. You went on there for the show to look for stuff that we could comment on or do a tweet of the week of. Now the algorithm has like programmed what you see to be like only negative things that are going to probably annoy you or whatnot. That's
where
it's good to be.
It's funny. It's funny you say that. Yeah, it's funny because Twitter's algorithm is all just grifting, tweets that are going to get me into arguments or to get me to fire off some hot takes. Whereas my TikTok, it's not even fun to be on TikTok, because it's all just like being healthy, business tips, business influencers, money making ideas, like, and the algorithm, like, there's not even like comedy anymore on, there's no tits, there's no ass, there's no comedy on my TikTok. It's like a working page almost.
Well, the tits and the ass have migrated to Instagram. The reels now are just a virtual strip club. That is just it.
I think
it's infuriating. There's nothing but that. It's, I don't even like it. I hate it. It's annoying.
Because there's a couple of Instagram thoughts that I've been wanting to see naked, and I'm finally seeing them. These thoughts found a loophole with these see-through dresses, and they're fantastic. I don't want this trend to end. I think when Instagram originally started, you were allowed to post nudes. I don't think we're too far off from Instagram allowing porn, because this is basically porn.
Full circle. Instagram has gone. So let's start off with our first tweet of the week. I'm going to start off with mine because it is somewhat still applicable to the topic before we start talking about tits and asses. And this is from one of the good Republicans, Rep. Thomas Massey. And he says, with the 15-0 ACIP vote, Biden's mandates redefinition of words like vaccination, legal corporate immunity, $1 billion of taxpayer-backed propaganda, Fed coerced social media censoring, and full government funding. It's official. mRNA is now a government-sponsored religion.
See, that's way better than the low-hanging fruit that I'm picking.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I've always said that the vaccine is somewhat kind of like now taking your communion at mass, right? You got to go every once in a while and be absolved of your sins. The woke stuff has become a religion. Maybe some people don't see it that way. I do. Before they sit down, they say their pronoun, like they sit down at a meeting table. He, her, she, him, whatever. That's making sure they say their prayer. Beep-boo. Right? They say their prayer to the God of wokeness before they have their meeting or whatever it is. So yes, it has become a religion. Rep. Thomas Massey, he's one of the better politicians. So let's go on to one of yours, Cap, if you're ready.
Well, they're all mine from here on out.
Oh boy.
Good old Nina Turner. This is actually a pretty good topic too. Kanye wants to buy Twitter. Elon Musk wants to own. Kanye West wants to buy Parler. Elon Musk wants to own Twitter. Trump owns Truth Social. Mark Zuckerberg controls Facebook and Instagram. Peter Thiel funds Rumble, and Bezos owns Washington Post. This is why we need more progressive media. Woo! You want me to take this bullshit at face value like we were talking about before? First off, 2 of those people don't actually own anything yet. Okay. And you know, the key words: wants. Kanye wants to buy. Elon Musk wants to own. They don't own them yet. Well, I'm pretty sure Elon's pretty, maybe a step or 2 away, but we need more progressive. Mark Zuckerberg worked with the FBI to cover up the Hunter Biden story. Mark Zuckerberg worked hand in hand with the administration to figure out what is misinformation and disinformation. We need more. Bezos bought the Washington Post, and no one batted an eyelash. Elon Musk, who is a free speech advocate per se, you could use your money to end world hunger. You could use your money. Nobody's giving bullshit to Bezos about what he should do with his money. It's perfectly fine to own the Washington Post.
Yeah, that's a good point.
This is such a low-hanging fruit.
Sure. So Nina Turner, I think, is making a point that actually has some sense in her world, because she's a Marxist. She's a communist, and she believes in the magical fairy tale land of unicorns where the workers are going to rise up and seize the means of production, and then everyone will just be equal. Twitter will just function. The person in charge of Twitter is going to make the same as the janitor. Everyone's going to get happy. They're going to hold hands and skip down the street as everyone lives in mansions in a perfect life. That is pretty much what she believes in. And so she doesn't like the idea of rich individuals owning corporations. She thinks that people.
But she's fine with Bezos owning Washington Post.
Well, she's not. She mentions him here. She references him here. I'm saying she wants like a Marxist control of all these things, and she's being critical of the billionaire class, the establishment to some extent. That's
see, I was splitting it up between right wing and left wing.
Yeah, so Nina Turner, yes, is on the left, but I wouldn't say she's an establishment person officially, because she's not actually in any sort of office.
She's a grifter.
Yet. She will be eventually when, if she were to get elected for something, then she'd become like AOC, right? She'd just be one of the same. Yeah, she's a grifter essentially at the moment, a socialist, communist, progressive grifter who says just shit that's just so dumb and such low-hanging fruit that she gets ratioed, dude. If you look at her comments, like people are in there just shitting on her all the time. I used to like her too, but now I'm at the point where you are so naive if you still believe in that. If you think that advocating for the government getting larger and controlling everything more is somehow going to make everything better, you're a naive idiot that should be ridiculed and made fun of and ratioed into outer space daily. All right, let's go to
pretty
your
good
last
take on that one.
Yeah, definitely. That was your first. Oh yeah, your second. Let's go to your second. It's one of my favorite Twitter profiles here.
Cat turd. Check out this little dumbass. Is that going to play at full volume?
I will. Hang on.
And you probably saw this, I assume, right?
Farming needs to stop. That's the single biggest driver of climate change.
I mean,
yeah.
Holy fucking Kalamazoo here, people. Okay. I wish we were interviewing this guy. I wish for so much stuff to be different about this video, but if we end farming, what's the plan?
Eat the rocks. I don't know. We're gonna eat the carbon maybe we've released into the atmosphere in order to prevent climate change. I don't know.
This is one of those people that we always talk about where when the food shortages begin, they're going to go to ShopRite, they're going to go to Whole Foods, and the shelves are going to be empty. And that's going to be Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, they're going to get up and they're going to go and they're going to think that there's just food on the shelves on Wednesday and on Thursday, and they're still not going to understand why by Friday that there's still no food on the shelves.
I don't understand. I thought they just appeared there.
Yeah. If we were to listen to this absolute moron, that person,
we'd all starve to death.
That idiot would have to pick up a rifle, a bow and arrow, a spear, a rock and a sling, and start hunting for his own food. How do you think that's going to go? He's going to be eating Fido by the end of the month.
So if we stopped farming, we'd have to then just eat only animals. So I'm not sure, is he advocating for a carnivore diet? How would we create enough? How would we have enough animals for everyone on the planet to be a carnivore diet? We'd have to factory farm. That's even worse than farming, regular farming of vegetables. Factory farming is fucking gross. It's inefficient. It does pollute a lot. So yeah, this is just on so many levels, just such a dumb fucking perspective to have. This is on the level of last week, the guy who wanted to go live in the Paleolithic era. Yeah. Because there was no capitalism. Yes, because deer, right. They're gonna just jump directly into your fire pit and feed you immediately. Yeah. That's how everything was great. Everything's great. We don't need farming. We're gonna live back in Stone Age. Things are gonna be easy. Trust me.
How stupid can you? I don't disagree. Like, I watch the documentaries and the coral reef is dying and the rainforest is burning down and we're over logging and stuff. And I get it. But I mean, okay, we're not going to produce food anymore.
Starve and die.
You thinking?
That's the leftist position. Starve and die. That's their position going forward. All right, we got one more here. Oh boy, man, you went for the trio here this week. I didn't do a double take at this and read it again, but go ahead.
John from Brooklyn Dad. John Fetterman cleans up pretty good. And I found this after the post you posted today of him looking like a Goomba from the Mario Brothers movie. I started a comment, but I was like, you know what? I can't do it. Put all politics aside. Put your agenda aside. You're going to tell me this guy's good looking.
That he cleans up well. I mean, like nice. That photo of him. Dude, no, he doesn't clean up nice at all.
Somebody said it looks like a match. Somebody made a mattress. It looks like a bed with a head on it.
I mean, this goes back to what we've been talking about a lot lately, is these grifters, right? Like, what they say is not real. So for you to look, whatever, talk about John Fetterman, you want whatever, to look at that and say he cleans up good. The guy's wearing a suit that don't fit. It's 2 sizes too big. That's not cleaning up good. Cleaning up good means John Fetterman is famous for wearing just like hoodies and looking like a fucking bum everywhere. Whatever. I don't care. I'm wearing a hoodie right now. When we do the podcast, we look like a bum most of the time. But sometimes me and you would go to a wedding. We take a nice photo. We wear a sharp suit. It fits nice.
Likes.
We take a picture. We post it on Instagram. We get 30, 40 likes. The most likes we get out of anything we ever post on Instagram. That's cleaning up nice. This ain't cleaning up nice. This looks like a fucking Goomba from the 90s Super Mario movie, which is what I tweeted. And I said the new Super Mario movie looks lit. So,
dude, I mean,
it's not
just
real.
Low-hanging garbage fruit. Just saying it to toe the line. You don't have any thought-provoking qualities about you.
Yeah. No, it'd be interesting. Hang out with Brooklyn Dad one day and see if off camera, off of his created persona, what he must really be like.
Not even to like argue with him about policy.
Smoke a joint and see how it goes. Yeah.
Like, come on, man.
I'd do it. I'd smoke a joint with Brooklyn Dad and see what he's really like in person. Probably just
he's definitely pro marijuana because Republicans don't like that. So
all right, well, there we go. We agree on one thing at least.
Yeah.
So that's it. I think wrap us up, Cap. Check out everything, linktree.com. Subscribe, follow us on the other things just in case we get banned off of YouTube. And,
Yep. Check out our Linktree. This episode's probably not going to be up on YouTube for a period of time till middle of next week. So Doom Nation, as always, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Check out our other posts. Go use our promo code at Patriot Cigar Company. It's Doomed, right?
15% off your purchase. We smoked them last weekend and they were
they
pretty
are
good.
phenomenal.
Yeah, so we're not just saying that 'cause
I
Alan
need
and we love
more.
him. Yeah.
I need more, Alan. So hook us up, buddy. Doom Nation, that's all. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We'll be back. We're gonna start gearing up for our Halloween special.
Yeah.
So peace out, Doom Nation.
Yeah. Last thing, we're gonna review House of the Dragon, the finale. Yeah, so that'll be
yes.
coming up soon too. Goodbye,
Yes.
everybody.